Okay, here it is, July 10th, a Monday, and it is episode number 705. Fantastic guest today. I have Mr. Jack Savage and Cooper Ferreira of the company Tatt2Away. That's right. You got some squirrels tattooed on your face or some kind of ex-lover's name on your neck, whatever you got, you've always wanted to get rid of it. Well, you're going to want to listen to this episode. Fantastic conversation and very cool humans. So I hope you dig it. Before we do get into it, I want to thank everybody that came out to the Atlantic City shows with Bill Burr and myself and the Allentown show. Great weekend out there on the East Coast. The humidity was fucking balls hot. I can't do it. I can't do the humidity. I dig the East Coast, but yep, I am a California guy. I've grown up with no humidity. I've grown up, whatever it fucking is, I don't know. I'm just waking up, doing the intro. Just waking up, doing the intro. Yeah. Anyway, the humidity was brutal, but the audiences were amazing. And shout out to my man Club Soda Kenny for all the great stuff he does. And obviously the shout out to my good friend Mr. Bill Burr for taking me out on the road. All these incredible arena shows. It's just been mind-boggling just to think about doing comedy in front of like 15,000 people. And just 13 and a half years ago, I wasn't even fucking doing comedy. It's so weird. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just trying to give you some positive vibes to go out there and fucking go for it, you know? Anyway, hope everybody's good. I will be in Las Vegas next week for 14 shows at the Comedy Cellar. July 17th through the 23rd. Looking forward to doing that. And also, I've got some Utah dates and some more of the Bill Burr tour. Some guy drove by and we were drinking some coffee in front of this place in Atlantic City. A guy drove by. That's Bill Blur. Bill Blur. Oh, we are dying. I love it. Anyway, I hope you had a great weekend. I've got some cool stuff going on. The merch is up on DeanDelRey.com. The tour dates are up on DeanDelRey.com. And the bonus episodes and the live Zoom Fest are on patreon.com/DeanDelRey. That's right, I got a Patreon. You get a bunch of bonus episodes. I did a Zoom Fest with some the Patreoners on Saturday. That was fun. Touch and base. There will be a bonus episode this week. I really appreciate everybody that supports the Patreon. I really do, man. It's really helped over all these years. And thank you to the Patreoners. I am on Threads, which is fucking insane. How many goddamn apps am I going to have to do in this comedy career? I don't even know what app I'm on anymore. I just open it up and I'm looking around and I'm like, what am I on? Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. I don't fuck with Facebook. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. I go there once a week to post up the podcast, and I see like a million messages. I've never fucked with Facebook, and just giving you a warning there. It'll take me weeks to even see that shit. Oh, there's a fucking bug in my house. Hold on, gotta get it. Ugh, fuck you. The goddamn bug on my fucking floor. What is this? A crack hotel? Anyway. I am on Threads. Fuck. I'm on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this interview. All the video versions have been going up on YouTube. And shit, I don't know. What else? Some great guests are coming up. Some more solo episodes. And like I said, the tour dates are out there. And I appreciate you guys all tuning in today. This is a cool episode, man. People ask me, would I ever get rid of tattoos? And I don't think I would, because they're just, first of all, I don't even see the tattoos. Once you get tattoos and you've had them for years, you don't even think about them anymore at all. When I was young, I was way into getting tattooed. I loved them. It was really fucking crazy back in the day to get a tattoo. I remember I got one. I came home. My mom was like, "You're never going to have a real job." And I was like, good, you know? And, now everybody has tattoos, and the tattooing is just so fucking next level. I scroll around on the Instagram, see these people, the work they're doing. It is just beautiful, And as much as I love all the new stuff, I do have just classic ink back in the day, man. Henry Goldfield, all these, iconic tattoo artists back then. Back then, it was just so different. You just go to like a little shop and be... It was basically just kind of outlaw. You sit down and they had the fucking steel guns. Now they got like carbon fiber tattoo guns that are flyweight, and they're giant. So these guys don't get carpal tunnel and bad shoulders and shit. The tattooing game is just off the charts now. Off the charts. Oh man, I haven't said that in years. Man, that shit is off the charts. Anyway, I don't think I would get any removed. When that woman ran me over on my motorcycle, a big chunk of my dragon was removed. And that's pretty fucking crazy. But a lot of great tattoo artists have worked on me over the years. Greg James. Who else have I had? I had, like I said, Goldfield, the Philip Liu. And, what is Bill Salmon? Bill Salmon, a lot of work on me from Bill Salmon, who was just a giant Grateful Dead fan. Back in the day when I hated the Dead, he would, you sit down and he'd put on a Dead tape and tattoo you for hours. You'd just be like, oh, what the fuck? Fire on the mountain. And he'd just be like, far out, man. Bill Salmon and Goldfield were just incredible humans. They were like old school San Francisco, just artists, just different types of people, man. Back then, remember that like in the 80s and 90s, people were getting into fakir and piercing themselves, and, Lollapalooza came around and everybody was getting big black tribal ink and tattooing has just been around obviously forever. My first hero, Bon Scott, had tattoos, and I read later on that he hated them. He was embarrassed by them. He got them in the Merchant Marines or whatever military he was in for a minute. But I always remember just people would have tattoos and you'd be like, fucking, that's outlaw. The biker culture, the rock and roll culture. You think about those early ones like Bon Jovi he had like a fucking underdog, Superman underdog or whatever. But really for me, it was Motley Crue getting those sleeves in Japan, the old school way with the sticks, the bamboo sticks. That process is a wild way to get a tattoo. Just incredible. Motley Crue comes back from Japan. They just have these sleeves. And then, of course, Guns N' Roses. And that was, what was his name? God, what's that guy? Tattoo. Sunset Tattoo. What was that guy's fucking name? I'm drawing a blank on it right now. He was tattooing Axl and those guys and just killing it. With that album cover with the cross and the band members. That shit was great, man. How am I forgetting that fucking guy's name? There was a lot of good guys back in the day, though. Lyle Tuttle. And then Theo Mendel, Spider Murphy. He was fucking one of the greatest an old friend of mine. He used to paint leather jackets and hate. In the hate, he'd paint your band logo on the back and shit. The guy killed it, and then he turned into just a smoking tattooer, doing an apprentice under Goldfield, I believe. Goldfield was the king of the Bay Area, I would say. You'd go in there. I never forget it, man. You go, hey, I want to get a tattoo. And he'd go, get the fuck out of here. And he'd break out a baseball bat. You'd be like, what? I just want to get a tattoo. I don't give a fuck. He was, man. This guy was hot-headed, but what an artist. He retired, I believe, and moved up to Guerneville. I'm not sure if he passed away or not, or if he's still around, but Bill Salmon passed away. Rest in peace, the great Bill Salmon. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but it is a part of my life, a big part of my life for years, just getting tattoos. And then I got the all-time best tattoo on my body from Nico Hurtado, who at the time had just taken it to another fucking level. He was the first guy on Instagram that I saw, and I was like, what the fuck? He did a Willie Nelson on a guy's leg, and I just could not believe what I was seeing. And I was like, I got to get Bon Scott done. Scott Ian had got Angus. Or no, did he get Angus or Malcolm? I think he got Angus and Malcolm from Kat Von D, which, by the way, Kat Von D years ago did the podcast if you want to hear that story. Anyway, so I saw Nico Hurtado. He did a Bon Scott on my side, and it's still one of my favorite tattoos of all time. I walk around every day with a man tattooed on me. I often thought if somebody fucked up a portrait of a man on you, it would basically be you just had a man tattooed on you. Anyway, I love all you guys. Enjoy this episode. Thank you, Jack and Cooper, for doing the podcast. Tatt2Away. That's TATT number 2 away. If you want to check it out, they're giving you a great deal, and you can hear about that on this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Keep the candles lit. I will see you in Las Vegas. Also, I will be in San Francisco on Sunday, seeing the very last allegedly Dead & Co. show. I cannot wait for that. They are absolutely fire right now. Here we go. Enjoy the episode. Have a great week. Candles lit. All right. Welcome to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is going to be a very interesting episode. I am covered in tattoos. A lot of people in the world are covered in tattoos. Some people have gotten tattoos that are definitely mistakes. And especially in this day and age of face tattoos and all of that stuff. And you might want to get them removed. So these two guys right here, introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Jack Savage. I'm the founder and CEO of RejuveTech Medical, and our product is Tattoo-Away.
My name is Cooper Ferreira. I'm a nurse, and I lead the operations of Tattoo-Away in growing the business so that it's accessible for everybody.
So here's the deal. I'm at this kind of high-end watch hobnob thing. You know, I'm like the poor man amongst these ballers, but they invite me to these parties. I guess maybe I'm kind of like the old days. What was that? Like they'd have the clown, the Joker, whatever. Come to the king's castle. I felt like that, like here's this guy amongst these amazing, successful people that were way into watches. I love watches. And I started talking to this one man, and he goes, oh, I've got this investment in this company, Tatt2Away, and we remove tattoos without lasers. And I'm like, what? I haven't heard of that. And he goes, yeah, it's going to be the biggest thing on the planet. And he sent me over some videos, and I was fascinated. So let's get into how it's done and how it started and all of that. And we all know about tattoo removal from laser, and it hurts like hell. And it's probably more expensive than anything out there. I've seen the videos. It's popping the ink underneath the skin. And from what I understand, it doesn't really get rid of the ink and it floats in your body, which could be cancerous. So let's get into the whole thing.
Yeah, Dean. Well, you pretty much nailed it right there as far as that laser removal doesn't actually remove anything. It just breaks the pigments and ink into smaller particles, and then your body essentially absorbs it. And some portion of it may process on through the body, but a lot of it stays right in the body. And there's a lot of things in tattoo inks that particularly the European Union just recently banned some 4,000 tattoo inks based on potential carcinogenic effects of some of the materials in them, or the toxicity of some of the inks, et cetera. So, I'm not saying that people are going to get cancer from doing laser tattoo removal, but what I am suggesting is it's probably not a good, healthy thing to do, to essentially take something that's in your skin and then breaking it into smaller particles and then distribute it throughout the body. So going back to how I got interested in this is my background is, in fact, medical lasers going back into the early 80s. And I was fortunate to be involved in a lot of the pioneering aspects of the laser business and got to witness this great new technology lasers do a lot of amazing things. But also got to witness that a lot of areas that we pioneered also get replaced by less costly and equal to or more effective technology, just based on the nature of how the treatments were done. So one thing that really triggered this for me early on was back in the mid 80s, we did some of the first work in removing the gallbladder using a laparoscope, which is just kind of this tube with optics on it to go into the belly, and using the laser to cut the gallbladder out. And it was great. I mean, it was minimally invasive. I mean, in context at the time, lasers were brand new, laparoscopes were brand new, fiber optics were brand new, minimally invasive surgery was pretty new. And it was really a hot item for a while for us as a laser company until the electrocautery people figured out how to do it through the laparoscope. And then one day we were the hot item, and the next day we were done, just because it could be so much more cost effectively done via a much less pricey technology. So that always stuck with me. And so going back a number of years ago, probably at this point around 13 or so years ago, I became aware that tattoos could be removed in a non-laser method. And coming out of the laser industry, I was well aware of the limitations of lasers and the things they could do well and not do so well in terms of tattoo removal. And so I started to explore this new approach of using essentially a dermabrasion mechanism to essentially bring the ink out of the body through these treatments, as opposed to break it up and send it into the body. And that whole experience with my previous laser experience really brought that forth in terms of we can do this for a lot less money. We can remove ink from the body with each treatment, so it'll be less costly. It'll be less time from start to finish for the tattoo removal, and most importantly, is we get the ink out of the body.
Well, when you say you became aware of it, did somebody else come up with this type of removal? How did you become aware of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I became aware that you could use a dermabrasion type of technique in order to abrade the skin and then cause a scab to form that would then bring the ink out of the body. However, what I also witnessed at that time was it was very unreliable, meaning, that kind of technique just, you would get some good results, you got varied results, this type of thing. So we spent the next few years actually refining the technique and patenting different other methods in order to advance the technology so that it would be reliable and you could get the kind of result repeatably that you wanted to get. So we started with kind of the broad concept that, okay, a dermabrasion will work to remove tattoos, and then we refined that via technology advancements and our IP and then all of our patents in order to get the technique that we actually use today to remove tattoos.
What is a dermabrasion? Is it like a heat that brings it up?
Well, it's actually A dermabrasion is using a mechanical device that essentially abrades the skin until you remove the epidermis of the skin. I mean, it's that simple. Now, in our technique, we don't abrade a whole tattoo all at the same time. And Cooper, maybe you want to bring up some slides to show some of that. That might be useful. But essentially, we abrade small little areas in circles with about a 5 millimeter circle with 2 to 3 millimeters in between each of those circles so that you have healthy skin around an area that you've treated so that in the healing process, you don't have that variability that I was talking about. Some of the earlier techniques, they were treating a whole area all at the same time, and it was just too much area for the skin to have to try to recover. And so one of the advancements that we made was this systematic kind of approach to the whole thing in order to to really control the healing process and get good scab formation, and then also essentially eliminate the chance of scarring.
You got any photos of that, Cooper?
Yeah, if you can enable share screen, I can show you a little bit of that.
All right. So basically, what you're saying is you're just doing small circles at a time. I can see what it is now. So are we going left to right? So the left is the full tattoo, right?
Correct.
And then the next one is the beginning, or is the far right the beginning?
So this next one, this second photo here,
Yeah.
that's after treatment. The area starts to scab. About 2, 3 weeks later, scabs fall off. You get that fresh skin, and then about 10 weeks later, your regular complexion comes back. You're ready for your next treatment.
Wow. So a tattoo, I don't know how big of that size that is. Let's say the size of like an apple. Is it that big or is it smaller? What's the size of this?
Yeah, this one's about the size of your palm, about an apple size. Yeah.
And what would take, how much time would that take to remove that?
So something like this, our average is between 3 and 5 treatments. Since this is so filled in, probably going to need 4 treatments to completely remove. If it was just say, line work, 3, but since it's a filled in area, probably 4. Uh, Usually 10 to 12 weeks between sessions. So you're looking at a little under a year to completely remove a tattoo like this, which, compared to lasers, where you're looking at year and a half, 2 years, it's a lot quicker.
And then what is the pain amount compared to lasers? Because do you put some kind of numbing gel on it, or what happens there?
So we do use lidocaine, but really you don't need it. I've gotten laser done, I've gotten this done. It's very comparable because we're using the same mechanism of action as a tattoo machine does. Very comparable to getting a tattoo, just a lot quicker. So if you can sit for a tattoo like this, you can definitely get it removed. I have a ton of videos. Every time we do interviews with clients talking about their removal, we always like to do it while they're getting treated to show, hey, they're talking through this whole treatment. They're not wincing, they're not doing anything. And you can find that all on our YouTube as well.
Now, like tattoos, is the removal more sensitive in other places? Like a tattoo on your bicep is nothing, but a tattoo on your rib cage is fucking brutal. So is it the same way?
Unfortunately, yeah, it's the same way. I would say it's a lot less painful because, I've gotten tattoos like behind my knee, for example. Oh my God, that pain. Or like the elbow, terrible. But it's so quick comparatively that it's really not as painful in those areas.
Let's talk a little bit about, I know that 50 Cent had got his tattoos removed. Now, this guy was fucking covered in tattoos. And I guess he went laser. But I mean, he was covered. Have you done anybody that has like full blown sleeves or back pieces and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we have a lot of clients in process with full sleeves right now, a lot of half sleeves as well. It takes a little bit more time to get those completely removed. A lot of people in situations like that, though, who maybe don't have as much real estate for new tattoos, a lot of people, you'd be surprised, want to remove to get something new in that area. Maybe they got, for example, I sleeved my leg when I was 18, and now that I'm older, all that prime tattoo real estate, I wish I did something a little bit better with. So this gives you the opportunity. For example, this is a really good example of a cover up. It's smaller, but you're able to tell because of the ability to break up those ink patterns. We're able to put something much more delicate, colorful. Doesn't have to be much bigger, which gives you a lot more options when getting a new tattoo.
That is an interesting point too, because I'm 57, so I got most of my tattoos in the late 80s, early 90s. But I was tattooed by some of the best in the planet of the old school: Henry Goldfield, Bill Salmon. These guys, Philip Liu, they were the incredible pioneers of really amazing tattooing at that time. Now tattooing is so insane. Like Nico Hurtado did a Bon Scott on me from AC/DC, and I start to think like a lot of people might have got all these early tattoos and ruined prime real estate. And that's a cool idea that you're just saying, get it removed, not because you don't like the tattoo, but there's so much better uh artists in the world right now. If you're on Instagram, it is mind-boggling what these people are doing.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the exact point. I mean, once you get that tattoo, that real estate's gone and tattoos change and your interests change as well. So this gives you the opportunity to kind of change with that.
Well, and one thing about our approach in this, Dean, which is unique, is because we remove ink with each treatment. This particular example has probably only had a couple treatments, and so now you're ready to do a cover up over the original tattoo. Whereas if they were trying to fade it with laser or lighten it with laser, you would have to have 6 to 8 treatments just to even start to get it light enough to go over top of it. So we just disrupt the pattern, make it so you can't tell what it is, which then allows the artist a lot more flexibility than having to really lighten it completely in order to go over it effectively.
Yeah, when I was young, I got a tattoo from this guy Henry Goldfield, and it was incredible. And then I kind of figured that everybody was great. I didn't know. So he was closed on a Sunday. So I just went to another guy, I had the addiction. And I wanted this woman with this flowing hair with roses and stuff. And basically, it looked like a bearded man. He didn't understand how to do shading. And when he was done, I looked down and I was like, oh my God. And people for months were like, what's up with that dude on your arm? And I was mortified, man. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And then I found a guy who was a killer. He could cover it. But with you guys, I could have just went in and went, get rid of this, and just did a different tattoo.
Exactly. I've got like I said, with my leg, I've got words misspelled on it. And if I hadn't had the ability to change it, I mean, I would be embarrassed showing it to people. But yeah, this is a good example of an artist messed up, and just wrote the wrong digit in there. And so having the ability with one treatment to remove that and then put the correct, date or whatever, it's killer. And tattoo artists really appreciate this side of it as well.
So you go in, let's talk a little bit of how you do it. You go in, you book an appointment, and you sit down. And is there what type of a machine? Does it look like the laser or a tattoo gun, or what is it like?
So this is the device right here.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty small, consists of 3 small components. The syringe pump, which we have a patented removal fluid that helps aid in the removal. We have a console, which just controls the handpiece. And the handpiece is really similar to a tattoo machine, the feel of it. But that's all it is. It's not a scary big laser. It's not shooting light beams and whatnot.
Is it heat? Does it feel like heat, or what's the sensation?
No, it feels like the same sensation you would get when you get a tattoo.
Wow, like a needle type of slight burn.
Yeah.
Now, am I correct that the solution is all natural? Is that right?
Yeah, the solution is essentially, when we exercise, we create lactic acid in our body. And so one of the main components in the solution is lactic acid, which serves as it's a wonderful exfoliant. So what it really does is it just helps to soften the epidermis so that it makes the abrasion aspect easier to do. Plus, the lactic acid also is a great sterilizer. And so as you're doing the treatment, you're softening the epidermis, but you're also keeping the area, essentially you're killing any bugs that could be around or anything like that. So, we in our treatments, I mean, we may see an infection in somebody rarely. I mean, like really rarely. But by and large, the nature of the treatment itself is sterile.
How long have you guys been doing this? Is it a couple years old, a year old? Like, because I just heard about it.
Yeah, well, I like I say, I started this, and we started coming to market in the sort of early 2015 kind of time frame, and it's been as a serial entrepreneur, I've been fortunate to be involved in a number of different startup businesses and so forth, and this one has had a bit more windy path than some of the others, but as we came out, we first started thinking we were going to go more med spa, those kinds of areas, and we discovered that just based on some market conditions at the time and some other factors out of our control, that in fact maybe our first foray into this would be better served in tattoo studios, and so we kind of pivoted and went that direction, and we stayed on that path for a couple of years or so. So anyway, we started about 2015. We've done a lot of treatments at this point. I mean, I'm talking 20 plus thousand kind of treatments, et cetera. So we know that the technology is really solid. We've refined it over a period of some 8 years at this point. In addition to what we're doing now, we have new product in our pipeline that we'll continue to take it to the next levels over and above where we are even today.
Oh, before and after. Wow, look at that. That's because I do notice that the laser seems to leave some kind of pigment white outline sometimes. Have you guys noticed that?
Yep, exactly.
This looks insane, man. Now, I mean, with this technology, you could get a new girlfriend's name tattooed on you with zero fear. Yeah. Yeah, and she won't have to know about this technology, and she'll be like, he really likes me. He got my
That's
name.
the number one. That's the number one thing people want removed is the ring finger tattoos.
Yeah.
And it's super easy because they're so small. So that's really nice. But yeah, and you gotta give it a year though between girlfriends so that we can get it totally off.
Let's talk about that now. Let's say you have a full sleeve. What would that take? Like a couple years?
So a full sleeve, we can't do the entire thing at one time.
Of course.
With us, with laser, any method, you're putting your body under stress. It's we're relying on your body's natural immune response. So you want to take it in sections. Because of that, it's going to multiply the time a little bit. So for a full sleeve, you're probably looking at around 12 to 16 sessions to fully remove. For still it's 4 or 5 in each area, but we're gonna have to do multiple areas. We don't have to wait 10 weeks between different areas of the body, but we do have to wait a few, give your body a chance to recover. So for a full sleeve, you're looking at probably a little under 2 years, year and a half.
That's wild. Now, when you're doing the process, is it bubbling up? Is there a liquid or something you wipe away, or what's it look like as it's going on?
As it's going on, you have these little circles in the area. Let me see if I got a photo here.
Oh yeah.
So this is a good photo of kind of what our pattern is, what it looks like. So as it's going on, you're able to see the ink more vibrantly. Since we're abrading the epidermis and exposing the dermis of the skin, you're able to see that ink much more visibly. So it looks a lot brighter in those areas. It'll swell a little bit, which is a good thing. It tells us your body's responding. And then from there, usually about a week or so, it'll start to scab. Just like think of a skin knee, how a skin knee would scab, except this is really precise in how we do it. And then about 3 weeks later, it'll fall off. Skin will look like this third picture here. And then about 10 weeks later, this is ready for your next treatment. And we just
Wow.
move that template over.
Dean, one other thing I want to just point out is, unlike lasers, our technique is we term it as colorblind, meaning because of the nature of our process, it doesn't matter what colors are used in these tattoos. Our process removes all of them. Whereas with the laser, many times, I mean, it'll do pretty well on black, but then certain kinds of blues and greens and other types of colors, it's just not very effective on. And so that's a major thing for us as well, and particularly with the newer tattoos where so many more colors are used.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're super vibrant. I mean, they look almost like some of the realistic, tattoos that people are doing right now are just unreal. All the colors and everything. It's wild. Now, did you run into any kind of like restrictions in certain states and stuff like that? How's that going with the health department and everything? Can you just set up shop in every state?
Well, it's more about who can do treatments in certain states.
Right.
So in the bulk of the states, we're unrestricted in terms of who can do treatments, et cetera. However, there are some states where it needs to be a medical professional in that regard. Now, we do have our FDA status, and we have a CE mark, which is for international shipping and so forth. So that's one of the things that we've accomplished over those years since the founding of the company. So we're set up and fully registered with the FDA, et cetera.
Are you in every state right now, like California? Because I noticed it was like Utah and places like that, but I didn't see California.
Yeah, we've got locations in California. We're spread all the way across the country. I mean, there's some states we're not in yet, but we have probably in total Cooper, around 45 or so locations.
Now, let me ask you this: when you designed the machine, who did you get to make it, and how did you know how to design the machine? Because I looked at it and it looked like something that's been around for years now. It looks like a great piece of machinery instead of early machinery. Like, well, here's our first tattoo removal machine. You look at it, you go, what is that?
Well, okay. In my sort of just entrepreneurial career, I've been involved in a lot of product development, and we started out with some third party things that we could obtain just to get the prototyping going and so forth. And then over time, what we discovered is that although our device looks simple, one of the great things about a well engineered product is when somebody says to you, "Well, what's so hard about that?" That just means it's simply been well done because it's been well thought out and well engineered. And so our product over the years has included a lot of very important technological refinements that really make the removal go much better, that aren't in any other kinds of standard equipment. So, for example, our abrasion bundle, which is a group of needles that serve as a brush, that particular bundle, and whenever we're doing a cycle of it oscillating, we retract that bundle fully into the cartridge with each cycle. So that way, as you're doing the abrasion, you're not dragging that bundle around on the tissue, which makes it less irritating to the skin and so forth. I mean, that's just one small example. And there's, our fluid is under pressure so that you can treat at different angles without, where if it was just simply gravity fed, then, you would have dry areas where the fluid wouldn't get to the tissue. There's a lot of technology in our product, even though it's, as I say, someone, when they would look at it, they would say, "Well, what's so hard about that?" but there's all these little things that are there that have been evolved over the years.
One thing that we're really striving for in the product development, continuing to strive to making it just less variability between not only, treatment to treatment, but technician to technician. So being able to train a person, and if you get start your removal in California, move to New York, switch locations, you're getting the same exact treatment. So what I really enjoy about our product is there's a lot less variability than what comes with, say, laser, where you have a lot of settings, how well your technician knows the laser, tattoos, that your body is going to determine how well you get a tattoo removed. Whereas with us, there's a lot less variability in that side of it, which is really a good thing.
So it is actually just like a tattoo gun. It's like needles just kind of raking over the tattoo in a circle motion. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, but it's a bit more than that. In other words, there's all different kinds of needles. There's things that we have picked especially for this application. So, when you look at tattoo needles, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to press ink into the dermis. Okay, that's not what we're trying to do. What we're doing is we're actually abrading the epidermis to expose the dermis. And so, it's a similar type of technology in some ways, but it's the way it's used is completely different. And then therefore a lot of the technology of the way different things are set up is different than the tattooing.
Does insurance cover it? Do you know, or no?
No, it's a cosmetic type of treatment, just like a lot of other things.
Right.
It's elective procedure, so you can't.
Well, let's get into this now, the price, of course. So let's say you have a tattoo the size of an apple, let's just say on your forearm. What's something like that? Do you do it by measurement, the size of the piece? Is that how it goes?
There's a few factors, and across the country, our pricing is going to vary a little bit. We have very firm pricing based on size, location, complexity at our owned and operated centers. We also have licensed location, kind of franchise locations where we don't control the pricing. So throughout the country, there's a little bit of variability, but for something of that size, you're looking around for the complete removal, I would say between $1,000 and $1,200.
Right.
Whereas with laser, you're looking more closer to 2,000.
Right. Right. And who seems to be your biggest customer? Those 80s moms that got the Pamela Lee barbed wire band around their forearm, or tattoo guys with the Lollapalooza arrow? I'm a tribe.
I've been doing tattoo removal for years, and it amazes me how much there isn't a specific customer. Every day you're meeting an 18-year-old that got their first tattoo. I've had a 78-year-old get a tattoo removed. You know, it's incredible.
78. Instead of
78.
just living with it, I got a couple more years. I want this out of here.
To put the scope of it in context, some of the surveys have been done about what the market is, or the size, et cetera. And this is, I think, pretty interesting. It's estimated that there's probably around 95 million people in the U.S. alone that have at least one tattoo. And if they have one, on average, they have 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And then you sort of combine that with, there's also estimated to be around 20,000 tattoo studios across the country, and daily they're putting more on. The point is the market is still growing at a rapid rate. The age span is all over the place, and the market is I don't see an end in sight. I really don't.
I'll tell you something that's really mind-boggling. When I got my first tattoo in 1984, so I remember I came home, my mom saw it, and no, not 84. I think it was like around 88. And she was like, "Oh, you're never going to be able to get a real job." And I was like, "Good," But now I don't think I have enough tattoos to work at Chipotle. I mean, the number of face tattoos that are out there is mind boggling. And now I don't think it's that dangerous because they can get them removed. So I'm like, those guys aren't dangerous. They know they can get them removed. When I was young, you would not get a tattoo on your face, unless you were in prison with the teardrops, But these guys got they got like stars and fire on their foreheads and a squirrel running across their neck. It's this crazy shit, man. And it's people that are like 20 years old, so now
Yeah.
they're not dangerous to me because they're just going to call you guys up when they're 30 and go, get rid of the squirrel and the fire, but to get rid of it on the face has got to really hurt, huh?
It's not because face tattoos are usually small.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
usually they go pretty quick. Definitely that's where the trend's going though. You're exactly right.
Well, and to just to amplify that a little bit on some of the face tattoos and so forth, we actually we're in a couple of prisons right now where we do work assisting with people that got some tattoos that affect their prospects going forward in their rehabilitation and so forth and so on. And so we're pretty excited about that kind of work. Because some of these tattoos, they're gang sign and stuff like that. And it's important that they get rid of those. I mean, not so much for what the tattoo is, it's just the fact that it's gang affiliated or something like that. So we're very happy about that. We've also done some work on charitable work for human trafficking victims, where a lot of these ladies have been branded effectively with tattoos as being part of a particular group or something like that. And so we're able to, quickly get those things off and removed, which is a big deal in that market.
That's great, man. That's great. Yeah. I mean, if you're not in a gang anymore, you don't want to be walking around with those gang signals,
A
Yeah.
lot of a lot of people in prison, I mean, they're getting tattoos to stay alive. And we hear a lot of stories like that. And it's really nice to be able to, when they're leaving prison. I'm happy that the trend now is we're able to get into the prison to do these treatments so that when they're out, they have that clean slate and they can actually make that transition back into civilian life. Before we were having to do that after they got out. So us moving, into the prison, it's really helpful.
It's so wild to think about where the tattoos are these days. Like growing up, you had the sailors, the guys in the military, and the in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and then 70s, you'd have a few like small tattoos on rock and rollers. And then really kind of Motley Crue comes around and they have sleeve tattoos. They're the first. You're kind of like, holy shit. Then Guns N' Roses, of course. And then that just ignites. And then you've got the 90s era of the tribal tattoos of all the Lollapalooza, the thick black bars. Now I'm seeing people with a whole arm black where they just get their whole. I saw a guy at the gym, his whole. Oh, what you got that? Let's see it. Like that. Man, now you couldn't remove that, could you?
We could.
Wow.
We could. Just takes time. Yeah.
Man, that is crazy. Well, I got to tell everybody where we can find this on the websites and the YouTube and all that, because I think this is just a really great, some great information and what you guys are doing to get out there in the world. That's why I wanted to have you guys on, because I was like, when he was talking to me about it, he showed me some stuff and I was just like, man, that is incredible. And I know there's a lot of my listeners out there that might have got the wrong tattoo or somebody spelled it wrong or, a woman's name, whatever. So I thought it'd be great to have you guys on. Where can we find this?
Yeah. So online, yeah, I appreciate you saying all that, because we're really trying to make this the new gold standard of tattoo removal, and really get the name out there. So online, TATT, the number two away, on all socials. You can check us out, Instagram, everything. We always post before and afters if you want to check those out on our website as well. YouTube especially. We are too, with your through this podcast, we want to offer any listeners $99 first treatment at any participating location. And you can get that on our website as well.
And how do they do that? Do they type in that they heard it here?
Yeah, so we have a webpage, tattooaway.com/Dean, Dean. If they submit a inquiry through that portal, or they just say at their, when they contact us, hey, I heard about you through this, first treatment, $99, which saves a good chunk of money, if you need 3 or 4 treatments.
That's amazing. Now, $99. Let's just say it's just a name. Would that get rid of the name?
It depends on, let's say you have line work. Sometimes we can get it off in 2 treatments, usually 3. So you're saving a good chunk with that. And if, let's say you have a finger tattoo, probably going to need 2 treatments. And so $99 for the first one, you're halfway there.
That's great, man. Thanks for doing that. Definitely. And YouTube channel, did you say what it was?
TATT, the number 2 away, AWAY, tattoo away.
Yeah. And Jack, thanks for setting this up. I was pretty excited to talk to you guys just because I always like something, technology going forward. Recently, I had Eargo on. They have got the small hearing aids. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that, you don't know anything, where to get a tattoo removed. You've only heard about laser. I've only heard about laser, and I've heard it's crazy expensive. I heard it hurts like crazy, and I never understood it. I watched some people and I was like, oh man, just ride it out. But with new technology, it's just great. I think one day before, when we're all dead, they'll probably just have a cream and it just lifts it all out in like a weekend. You can get weekend tattoos. Just walk around. Yeah, I don't like rub the cream on and you're out of there.
A virtual reality tattoo.
Yeah. AI tattoos.
Yeah, AI.
AI. Yeah, that's an AI tattoo right there. Thanks for doing the show, guys, man.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it, and just would like to say that we've been doing this for quite a while now, and we genuinely understand that tattoos are an emotional kind of thing as well, meaning for a lot of people, they're not just a piece of art on their arm. They have some kind of more personal meaning. And so we understand how to work with those kinds of things and have for a number of years. So we're happy to help everybody out, and we appreciate you bringing this on.
Well, I think you're going to make couples get closer together, because there's nothing worse than having a new girlfriend and she's got some dude's tattoo. She's naked and you're just like, Steve, who's Steve? Like all the time. You don't need to see Steve. It's like a bad threesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And everybody pay a visit. And don't forget, man, $99. You can get the first treatment. That's pretty damn cool. I appreciate you guys. And I hope for nothing but success. And I know you guys are going to keep exploring this further and further. And it'll probably just get better and better,
Definitely.
That's where we're headed. So,
all right. Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Later.